Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you both for being our amazing participants today. We'll do kind of just some quick introductions and then we will jump in. So Lace, if we can go to Vanna, if we can go to slide number 2, please. Awesome. So Hannah, if you wanted to introduce yourself quickly.
Yeah. So my name is Hannah. I'm a regional manager. I am a multi-brand manager, so I oversee a Club Pilates and a cycle bar. My franchise partner started in the Club Pilates world, and then she added on a cycle bar into our portfolio. And so we started using Prospr to kind of combine all the different areas that we were utilizing other resources. So yeah, we're excited to be here.
Lovely, Melissa.
Oh, yes. So hi, I'm Melissa Miller. I am a Club Pilates owner as well in the San Francisco Bay Area. I have 3 open studios and then 1 more in development. So we came to Prospr, a couple of years ago now, maybe. And as I was just going from being an owner of 1 to being an owner of 2 studios. And now, as we're growing, we're continuing to really enjoy the benefits of using Prospr and the platform.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been years.
Yes, I know. It's crazy.
I know. And you were skeptical at first. I remember. Well, we will talk about that today.
For sure.
Awesome. So we're cool on the slides. Thank you, our lovely Vanavite. And then Hannah, how long have you guys been on Prospr? It feels like a while.
So we officially made the transition January 1 of this year. We enrolled in December, but we transitioned our team into it January 1. So we're 10 months in.
I mean, I kind of love that specifically for this session because I think, you're going to see immediate benefit and you do see it, right? By month 10, hopefully you're really feeling like, oh, this is a tool we can't live without. Yeah. But once you're in it a couple of years, it really becomes sort of part of the DNA of the business. And so I would love to kind of first talk very quickly, what were you looking for when you both came to Prospr? Tell me a little bit about the org structure, what the problems were, and what solutions you guys were trying to solve.
Yeah, I can start. So what we were looking for, especially when we first started out with 1 studio, we of course identified all the apps that you use, right? That everybody talks about. This one for communication, and this one for scheduling, and this one for task management, and all the different project managers and all these different things. But it didn't maintain feasibility. The more that we needed extra tools, and just going in, we wanted something that we could kind of combine all the places into one area. And so we really loved that about Prospr, that we could bring in communication and scheduling and sub requests and all of those different features into one platform and simplify that process for our team. And in the onboarding process, it simplified that as well, because we're not having to train our team members to use 15 different platforms. We're having to train them how to use one. And so that was what we were looking for, is the simplicity and the accessibility to be able to use both.
Awesome.
Yeah. Do you want me to?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and same thing as Hannah, as far as, again, a couple years ago, I was moving from 1 studio into 2 studios, knowing that I had a couple more coming, definitely looking for a one-stop shop, essentially, to provide, 1 single platform where both my instructor team and my front desk sales teams could all be on the same platform, because essentially we had 2 different scheduling. Well, actually, we didn't have really any other scheduling for our instructors other than Club Ready. And then they were using Google Docs or Google Sheets and GroupMe messaging. And, then my front desk team, we were using a different scheduling platform, and they were just not in sync. And then I loved the idea of just having not just the communication, but the scheduling, but also there's like a ticketing option. And I think that was really great. So that's really what drew me in, to join and finally hop on to Prospr after much, much deliberation with Erica.
But we enjoyed it. We had fun. I mean, I think, but that's a very real thing, right? And I think the people that are watching this that are here today representing ownership and management, they're probably going, well, it's not totally broken.
Mhm.
Right. And so now that you're on the other side of saying like, hey, this isn't great and we found something better. What has been like the biggest benefit, would you say, of that consolidation of all of those things? And then we can kind of talk about what your favorite features are and how you're utilizing them.
Yeah. Do you want to go first, Hannah?
Sure. I think the overall, like, from just consolidating it all down, like, in addition to the accountability features that Prospr offers, that was a huge like selling point for us coming into Prospr. Was there wasn't anything that we were finding out there that offered that same level of accountability. And so that has been really game changing. But like I said, just simplifying it overall into like, it saves a ton of time because I can log in to my Prospr and it just shows everything that I need. I can go through the tickets that I need to resolve. I can go through all of our tasking. I can oversee tasking that they're doing, all of those different things. It's just all in one place. And so the simplicity was really what I think what I love so much about it is really just pulling everything into one place.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. My dog is in the background, so I know we're recording and but he might be hearing that, I promise. But for me, I think yes, like the consolidation again, bringing both my instructors and my front desk sales associates onto one communication platform has been huge, just to ensure that everyone's on the same page, so that my front desk staff know, or my managers know, like, hey, something's going on with the instructors. They all understand that and see, okay, someone needs to sub, someone has a last minute, whatever it might be. And then they can also see, who is essentially subbing, who's who's going to be in there. Yes, they can use Club Ready, which obviously is our system of record when it comes to our instructors, but the ease at which they can put up shifts and grab those shifts, and my front desk can also see that. I think that's just been really helpful for us. We had looked at different platforms specifically for instructors, but it just, then it wouldn't make sense. We wouldn't have had anything for our front desk. And so, for us, that has been key. And again, just the overall communication. And yes, there are multiple different kind of applications that we had been using, and some were free and most were free, but at the end of the day too, it's I think when you can have a place where you can put it all in, and also just having our instructors really start utilizing one application, that has been super helpful. So again, I think it's just a little bit harder to get instructors of all varying technical, backgrounds and abilities. And so I think having them kind of have something that's easy for them to use, and also my front desk using the same one so that they can also teach them when they're in studio with them, has been very helpful.
Yeah. I mean, I want to talk about my least favorite 4-letter word, which is free. Because I think that is right. I think especially I built Prospr because I was a small business owner. I was running studios. Like, I understood what my margins were, and I'd have to sometimes squint to see them. So I think one of the things that people are concerned with is like, hey, yeah, this is kind of chaotic, but all of this wrangling is perceivably free, right?
Mhm.
It's not actually free because your manager's tied up and your ownership's tied up and you've missed dinner with your husband because you're dealing with a sub request, right? So it's not actually free. There's nothing free in life, unfortunately. But I want to kind of dive into some ROI and some real dollars. Hannah, you're using our ticketing system specifically. One of the ways is within your retail.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how you're using it for retail and what those results have been from an ROI perspective.
Yeah. So I kind of came into this from the other side of things. I found Prospr and brought it to my owner, and I was like, I want this, but I need this. This management would be huge. And so I was immediately like, how can I use Prospr to make the money that's going to cover for her to pay for it? So we started using our ticketing platform, the ticketing side of things, to take retail requests. So we basically created a item or created a ticket type that's specific for inventory requests. And so in both of our studios, when a member or a prospect comes in and they're looking for a size that we don't have, they immediately tell them like, hey, we can special order that for you if that's what you want. And then as soon as that comes in, we will just charge it to your card on file. And so we trained our team how to do that. And then now every time somebody comes in and they're looking for retail that we don't have, they just put in a ticket. And so then when I'm going in to order retail, I order that retail and it's already paid for as soon as it comes in. So it's kind of guaranteed return on that. And that has been, I mean, it's been huge. We were doing something similar before, but it was a sticky note system, as I like to call it, which was very unorganized. The sticky notes got lost. They almost never made it to my desk when I was ordering retail. So it was like, it may be that the member was having to wait months to receive something that they were special ordering because I didn't have it in a timely manner, or we got the request for the item, but it didn't tie back to a member. So it was like, okay, well then it came in and nobody was there to pay for it because we don't know who we ordered it for. So we started really using the tickets to really streamline that process to create revenue from it. And that was one area that I really dove into early on so that I could try to commit that back to my owner, being able to present to her that it was worth it, worth the investment.
Hey, brilliant. Right, because the best way to keep something that you're asking someone to pay for is being like, okay, and here's how it pays for itself. So I love that. Melissa, I think where you guys have really shown is in the bulletins and in the communications.
Mm-hmm.
And also in scheduling, right? So would love to hear from your perspective, where are you finding the biggest ROI out of Prospr?
I'm going to sound like a broken record, but definitely from the scheduling standpoint, for sure. And as you know, I was very, very skeptical of how the scheduling will work. I know if there's, owners here that are wondering, okay, does it sync with Club Ready? We've come up with a way for it to work, and essentially, that's really, I guess the ROI is a little bit intangible in some cases. We can't, but it's really about the time, right? The time of my lead that I'm paying my lead instructors to, navigate the scheduling and doing all of that. I think that's really been key for us. So, ensuring that we're not missing a potential, sub request where, someone is not covered, or, trying to figure out, okay, we're going back to a Google Doc and this instructor said they filled it out, but then they actually didn't. And now they just assumed, they went there, but nobody was notified, and so now they're calling everyone, asking everyone individually for subs, versus with Prospr, we really tell them, make sure, I know notifications can be annoying if there's too many, the very least turn on the scheduling notifications, right? So as soon as a shift goes up, they can see, oh, okay, this is what's available. We still have our instructors message in like an all instructor group, like chat within Prospr, just to say, hey, I put these up, just to kind of give that. And there's protocols, but then once they put those shifts up, you can see them, they go in and we have it, based off an approval process, right? So as soon as they, decide another instructor will take that shift, my lead instructors now see, okay, these are pending approval, and they can go in and approve that and change Club Ready at the same time. So it's a system that has really helped a lot. And it's saved really kind of time overall from our leads and also from our individual instructors, who are not having to necessarily reach out to every single one of our instructors that is on our roster.
Yeah. No, I mean, the time savings is huge. I think one of the big questions, and one that one of our participants have, is do instructor schedules automatically transfer to Club Ready? And I know that that is a big question for the group. Right now they do live standalone. And to your point, Melissa, like, I actually think that it is better where you take that moment, you swap it, you change it. So I would you guys have a minute just to talk about how you're scheduling, how the two don't necessarily automatically sync, but how you make them work together?
Yes. So for my scheduling, so how I load schedules or how my leads put the schedules into Club Ready, we do it on a rolling quarterly basis, or on a quarterly basis, I should say. So, about like the month before the beginning of the next quarter, we will go through, my leads will ensure, our class schedule is still pretty intact. Are we going to make any changes, whether it's like class type changes, instructor changes, and then they will go through and then they'll load everything into Club Ready for the next 3 months for the next quarter. Once it's in Club Ready, we always say, okay, that's again, system of record. We then take that schedule and we populate it via a template that we have, and we can automatically populate the 3 months of the class schedule directly into Prospr. So from that point in time, I tell my instructors, it is essentially that schedule. Now, once it's moved over from Club Ready into Prospr, from that point on, they manage all the sub requests from there. So, again, if there's any discrepancies between Club Ready and Prospr, it's because something, that might be manual, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't be, because we have a point in time that we say, this is where, we have now uploaded our schedule into Prospr for the next 3 months. So now go ahead and start requesting, putting up your shifts for availability, requesting the subs. And then at that point, like I mentioned, when, kind of shifts go up, instructors then want to take it. They pick up the shift. It's in the approval status. And so at that point, our lead instructors will then be able to see pending approvals, and they'll be able to honestly, we also like that, because then they will then confirm already. So they'll approve it, change it in, Club Ready, and alert the members of the change. And then they'll, it'll be a confirmation between, the 3 parties, like the lead and then the 2 instructors who are swapping. But it also gives us a little bit of an opportunity, honestly, to evaluate and see if that instructor is, not capable, but is qualified to take on that shift swap, because we do have a lot of apprentice instructors who are not able to teach some of our fusion classes and some of our level 2 classes and so forth. So that gives us a little bit of a minute to be like, okay, let me approve this. Let's make sure, do we need to make any changes? And, kind of have that conversation before everything gets shifted over into Club Ready, and then members are starting to book in and see it in the app. So in that sense, it has helped. Of course, we would love automation and things, right? I've been talking to you about APIs like into Club Ready. I know they're a pain, but that's how we've had and made it work, and it's been working.
Awesome. Hannah, do you have anything to add that was like perfectly detailed?
Yeah, no, that all sounded great.
I mean, I kind of like the ability to like have that minute where you're making the approvals. I think the idea of automation in the future is certainly always within the ether. But there are benefits to them actually not syncing automatically, so that you can also see, do I have one instructor that's always giving up shifts? Do I have one front desk person that's always picking up, right? You're able to be in your business just that much more in a still pretty automated way, and still connect with your team, right? So one of the things I kind of wanted to shift into is that idea of performance management and task management. And I think, Hannah, you do such a great job with our joint mission feature, which is automated checklists that you can set to specific days, specific times, specific working groups, entire locations, collaborative ways to get things done with accountability and transparency. So would you share with the group kind of how you're doing task management within Prospr and the changes that you've seen within the organization by now digitizing day-to-day ops?
Yes. So, for starters, what we were doing before, in one of the studios, we had a binder with paper checklists, which again, in the communication aspects, a lot of times owners and GMs aren't necessarily in the studio all day, every day, because we have a lot of stuff that we're working on the back end. So it was hard for us to evaluate the performance in real time, where it's like, I can't go in and see like, okay, have all these tasks been done? We're looking at that, you know, days later or a day later on the best case scenario. And so it's not anything that we can really evaluate in real time. And so the tasking system was really something that was an interesting add, that honestly, I didn't know that we were looking for until we started utilizing it. Because I didn't realize how beneficial it really would be to have that. Now for every position that we have, from our front desk, our AGM, our LI, and then of course myself, we all have task lists that populate on a recurring basis. And then basically everybody has checklists created that are quarterly checklists, monthly checklists, weekly and daily, so that we can really identify what items do we really need to be doing every day? What items do we need to be doing, you know, only once a week, only once a month, so on and so forth. And that way it helped me from the management perspective to make sure nothing was falling through the cracks. If we knew that all the tasks were accounted for, then all we had to do at that point was go back and double check and make sure that the execution is there. And then it's allowed us to have those coaching conversations with our team as well on like, hey, we see in these checklists, like this same thing isn't getting done every day. So like, is this something that, you know, are we just not prioritizing time wise? Is it something that you feel that we need more training on? So it's allowed us to really revisit where our team feels comfortable in those tasks as well, because we can see who's doing each of the tasks on the task list every day. And so it's been really, really beneficial. And that was something that we kicked off like right from the beginning when we started utilizing it. So that we could really streamline that process and get out of our binders. Now the binders don't exist and we love it.
I know. I always get my hands caught in those stupid binders.
Yes.
Always the worst.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think one of the big challenges when you're managing employees, at least for me, is like you'll want to send something out, you'll have checklists or you'll have information and you'll shoot it out in an email or a text or Slack or a binder. And then you're like, well, a tree fell in the forest.
Yep.
Did it make a sound? You know, and then you really are kind of stuck as a leader or a manager because like you can't manage from a place of uncertainty.
Right.
I can't hold you accountable to something that I can't unobjectively say you saw it at this day and time, and I
Right.
provided it to you at this day and time.
Yep.
Melissa, I think you guys are really killing it on the bulletin front. And one of the nice features of bulletins that you can see, right? You can put out information, be it files, videos, photos, survey, and some polls. How are you using the read receipt feature and the e-signature feature to really make your organization more accountable?
So yeah, I would love the read receipt aspect of it. For our bulletins, you know, besides like originally we were just kind of playing around with them and using them for like the happy birthdays and, you know, fun things, which still go on the bulletins. But now, you know, like I have an HR partner who also now has access to Prospr because, you know, we need someone to help with the employee management and, you know, any major changes that we had, like for instance, we had a big payroll cycle change that we had to roll out. She made sure that, you know, yes, like the acknowledgements and the read receipts for all the employees so that they realized and that we could see, okay, so-and-so did not acknowledge, we could reach back out and just make sure that they understand, like, these are the changes that are going to be happening because essentially anything when it comes to payroll, I'm in California, very, very strict, you know, employee legal laws and HR laws. And so we wanted to make sure everyone understood, you know, what this change would mean, what the ramifications would be temporarily, et cetera. So, you know, that's really one way that we've been able to ensure and see, okay, and manage that. I will say there's also the resources, which I don't think we actually touched on quite yet, but the resources aspect of Prospr was also another area that we were really excited about because again, we had things in Google Docs and then things sitting in emails. And then there's of course the Club Pilates or the Exponential, they have the Powerhouse, right? Or I think Exponential has it all, but you know, we use it for Club Pilates for sure, right? So all of that, again, was, you know, kind of in different places, but the Powerhouse is great because yes, it's all corporate things that are useful, but you know, we also obviously have our own documentations and like procedures and processes. And opening, closing things, right, that we put in. So we use that in our resources. And there's also the ability to have the read receipts there as well. So, you know, we have a sub policy for our instructors, right? So we give it to them during onboarding. They have to acknowledge it, but they also still have to acknowledge it again when they're in Prosper, you know, things like that, so that we can
12:30.
do that. So I really kind of like that feature for sure. But we love the resources. So we're not, again, going out to different places, because oftentimes people forget, like, where is it in the Google Docs? And, you know, this way we can say, like, when I'm getting a call, or my, you know, director of operations is getting a call at like 5 a.m. saying, hey, what's the alarm code? We're like, no. Go to your resources. You can see, here's all the operating procedures, and you can get all the password. I mean, I shouldn't probably security wise, but like password secure, you know, things that we absolutely need, that we are so tired of people, you know, just forgetting or telling us that they don't have it, when everyone has it on their app, right? They see their schedule on their app. They see their, they can see the resources, they can communicate with us. The directory is there for anyone that wants to be able to make a quick call or email or whatever. So anyway, that's a little bit of a tangent, but that's what I love about the read receipts for sure.
Yeah, no, and resources we're gonna jump into at some point. So you covered them.
Okay.
Our resource library is essentially a repository where you can put all of your documents, your location documents, things from Powerhouse, training, development, everything that you need at your team's fingertips. And you can actually even segment them by location, by team, by just for managers, just for admins, just for front desk or instructors. Hannah, did you want to touch on resources quickly?
Sure. So we do utilize resources as well. We have like kind of a process where my franchise partner she writes all the SOPs, and then we go through this process with our leadership team where we're kind of like refining them and fine tuning them. And then once that SOP is officially like in place, then we upload it into Prospr with effective dates. We require the read receipts. And one thing that was really interesting to me that I didn't realize at first was within resources, under the read receipts, when it shows you who's read them, it also shows you how much time that person spent on that resource before they marked it as read, which is really interesting because I have firsthand seen the correlation between the people who don't spend much time on them before they acknowledge them. But we do coach our team that to tell them that, like, hey, once you are marking this as confirmed that you've read it, you are accepting that you're taking responsibility for understanding that information. And so it's been really beneficial from that aspect. And then usually once a week, I just go through and I see, okay, what resources are still pending that still need acknowledgement, and I'll send notifications back out, reminders to the people who still need to acknowledge them. And it's from the accountability aspect, it's been really helpful. And then in messages as well, the read receipt function has been really nice, because we are able to go back in conversations where, you know, it's inevitable that something comes up where somebody somewhere says, oh, I never saw that, or I never knew that. And we can go back and show the accountability side that they did read those messages. So yeah, it's been really beneficial from that, because like I said before, I had not found another platform that utilized that function. And it was really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I was in both of your seats. And so it was more of like, if one more person tells me I don't know, or that I'm crazy, I'm going to lose it. I want to talk very briefly about like, I think most owners and most managers will go, oh my God, I totally see the value of Prospr. I get it. But the idea of introducing another thing to my team and getting them to do it seems like more work than I want to do. You know, what would you say to that owner or to that manager who's really just nervous about change management and best practices of how you've introduced new tooling and been successful? And why?
I can go first. Yeah. I can go first for sure, because you know it took me a long time. And I'll be totally transparent with the other owners. I mean, it took me about 3 months from the time that I actually decided to jump on board with Prospr to actually rolling it out for my team. I had a studio open in between that time period. So I also was very, cognizant of change management during a really hectic time. But that said, we did start off, first kind of with a little bit of a test round with just me and my managers. And then we rolled to the front desk. Our instructors were the very last, only because, again, different technical, kind of comfort zones and backgrounds. And also we don't see them all the time, right? So our front desk was already used to using a different application. They understand the scheduling tools and the communication and things, but so we tested that out, and we did kind of roll that out a little slowly. But I'll say, obviously by the time I was like 3 months in, I'm like, we just need to rip off the Band-Aid, to be honest. And really, that's where, once I figured out a way to comfortably like put in the schedule, or not comfortably, but just more easily load the schedule in from Club Ready into Prosper. Once I was able to do that, I'm like, you know what, we're just going to do it. So we just ripped the Band-Aid off. We did it. It did take some hand holding a little, with our instructors. But at the end of the day, it was still something where they're like, okay, it's actually not that bad. Because really, once you get into the system, then it's just a matter of showing them, okay, this is what you do. I love Loom. So I did a couple of Loom videos for them, just to show them and do kind of the screen share walkthrough with them. Some were, texting me or my, managers, but it was fine. They could show them how to do it. So, I think really for me, it just became to a point of the headaches of having multiple places to go for information kind of outweighed the headaches of just trying to change over to one single platform. So I think that's really what, after, again, the 3 months of me really going, okay, is this going to work? Am I going to do this? Like, once we did it, and I was like, okay, it actually was so much better, and we're glad that we did, for sure.
Yay.
Yes.
Yeah, and I can add too. So we kind of skipped the transition period. The way that I looked at it, and had my owner made the decision to transition in, I probably would have done that too. But because I knew that I had kind of advocated for this platform that she was starting to pay for, I'm like, she's paying for it, we're using it. Like, that was kind of my standpoint on it. So we went into a period of time. I think we signed up at the beginning of December. I scheduled 2 virtual Zoom meetings, and I gave it out to both of our studios. And I was like, the onboarding for Prosper is going to be on one of these 2 days. So you need to be at one of them. And then we walked through a full training of the platform on both of those Zooms. And then we put out the deadline. So as of December 31st, all of communication in Slack was going to be turned off. All of our scheduling was moving over to Prosper. And then we told them all, as of this date, no further communication will happen in this platform. And then we just transitioned everything over. So we kind of took the rip the Band-Aid off approach from the beginning. And really, I explained it to our team in a way of like how it was going to be beneficial for them, because it was from that same standpoint. And I know Melissa mentioned it earlier about the notifications. You don't have to worry about notifications coming from 15 apps. You have notifications that are going to come from this one spot, and everything is going to be in one place. So I really explained it to them too, from like, hey, this is going to be beneficial for you as well. It's going to give you extra access to things that we honestly don't even have accounted for at this point. And so it was kind of taking that standpoint of like, this is how it's going to benefit the business, but this is how it's going to be beneficial for you. And so we want to make sure that everybody's kind of on board with it. Transition wise, it wasn't super rocky, I think, because we took the time to do those Zoom calls, and people had the opportunity to ask questions. But once something came up, we would just put a message out to everybody and say, hey, this is a question that's come up. This is how you would solve it. This is what we need to do to make sure, you're good. Let us know if anything comes up. We had a few technical difficulties in the beginning as well. And things that we actually reported to Erica that got fixed like right away. Which was really cool, seeing the support side from Prosper as well, and features that we've requested that have been implemented, which was awesome to see too. So yeah, that was, we took the rip the Band-Aid approach kind of early on.
Yeah, I mean, the rip the Band-Aid approach honestly is a good one. And whether you do it staged in small groups or you do it just like everyone at once, I think one of the things that because we do come from a group of operators, even Lacey's operated people, and like everyone on our team comes from an operationally minded perspective. You know, I think we try to give people a lot of support, especially in those first 30 days and then ongoing. Even to the point where every single one of the team members has access to Prospr support in their app. So they don't all have to come to you guys and be like, hey, I need help. Like, you know, we try to make it as seamless as possible. You know, because we have an opinion that like we only get a first impression with your employee once, right? So we want it to be easy. You know, if we were, you know, because we are kind of coming up on time, if someone was evaluating Prospr or thinking about bringing this into their business, what would you tell them?
I mean, I've gotten the opportunity to talk to a lot of general managers that are coming in under pre-sale, and I always talk to them about Prospr because I think that Prospr can really help you manage the operation side so that it opens the door for you to step into a leadership role. And we're spending less time in the management side so that it can open the opportunity for you to truly just stand in as a leader. And that was something that was really important to me, was just streamlining all of those processes, putting them all in one place so that it could free me up to do what I want, which is really be there to support our team. And not having to just go back every day and be like, okay, like I gotta check all the checklists and I gotta do all the things. It's like that slowed down the time frame. And I tell them the same thing, that the problem it solved for me. It's putting everything in one place so that you know where to find everything. And you can onboard your team one way to train them on this app, and then they know where to find everything as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, for me, when I talk to owners about Prospr, you know, I think it's a consolidated platform. I know there was a question I saw that said, you know, kind of what does Prospr do? But essentially it's, you can put it's scheduling, it's the communications, it's the resources, like a resource library. You know, it's the ticketing aspect, which again it's super underrated. I think when I first talked to you, because I was really focused on scheduling, and but that has been great for me. Not having different emails or texts about, so, you know, this broke down in Studio 1, and this one is, you know, we need more toilet paper in Studio B, or whatever, you know, there's always something, putting it all in one place. So the consolidation of kind of multiple platforms into one with both sides of my team has really what I would say is kind of the great benefit of Prospr. So it is a place where I can say, you know, it's taken the place of multiple different applications, so that I can have one place where everyone, we know, okay, and we started, and every time somebody texts me, I'm like, let's move this to Prospr. And so eventually, you know, everything is in one application. So that also kind of helps with, you know, from a communication standpoint, any sort of like legal ramifications and things too, so that it's not on personal devices, or, I mean, it is on an app, but it's not like in their, you know, personal emails or in their text messages anymore.
Yeah. I love having like one place for work, one place for my friends. And especially when you have so many people, I know for me, like I had like 7 Sams, and then I had to send something to like one who was actually my friend. And I'm like, I don't actually know which one that is.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I like it too, because sorry to interrupt you, but I just wanted to add too, with it all being in one spot, from being in my position, it's really nice too, because when I go on vacation, I can pause my notifications and my owner takes over that role for me. And so I can truly disconnect from work and have that ability to, and we make sure that we're communicating between each other on like, hey, I'm offline, so she's taking point on responding to anything that would require an upper level answer. And then when I'm coming back on, then we're able to really seamlessly transition back into that and not worry about my time away from work as well being inundated with all the notifications coming in from all the different places. So I liked that aspect of it too.
Thank you guys so much for sharing with us today. I hope that everybody found this really useful and beneficial. Lace, we're going to throw up that slide. Anybody who would like to take a deeper look at the product, please feel free. We'll also reach out with a way to get in touch with us from registering for today's call. Melissa, Hannah, thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you guys so much, both as partners in Prospr and in participants today.
Thanks for having us.
Oh my God, of course.